Now, being in the corporate world, we are very much into practicing the strategies to bring out quality at workplace within our schools. And that is what we have been practicing. My connect with Sri Lanka has been had possible with over 15 years of sharing quality circles and Kaizen approach in schools. And that is how I connect with Bangladesh and with other countries. That the approach is how quality circles can be initiated in schools to bring out a better learning preface, and how we can bring out awareness of curiosity, interaction and commitment in the schools. Well, the priority talks about the assurance of quality. With the set quality objectives, the effectiveness of this policy will be measured from time to time and improved in a continual basis with the total involvement of all the staff and employees. This policy shall be published and be understood in full and one and all forever. Let the quality slogan of the school be right first time, on time and every time, signed by the correspondent principal. Now similarly, we need to have a quality policy, just like we have the mission and the vision in a school. And it is high time for all of us. I believe on visiting the schools in Sri Lanka as well, I found that yes, they are practicing a quality policy with the framework. This is another school in Pune only, which talks about the vision and the mission. And it is the teachers who frame the vision and the mission. And you can revisit on the mission and the vision, say after 5 years or 6 years, looking at the spectrum of the change, because the pandemic has caused what 10 years would have. So we are back by 5 to 10 years because of the progress otherwise we have had. So henceforth, it is the priority for the schools to upload the change in the school, continuous improvement. When we talk about continuous improvement, I remember the word Kaizen. Kaizen is continuous development. Along with Kaizen, there are two other Ks, which talks about Kagne and Kino. Somewhat like 3 Ks. If you Google the word, you'll get continuous improvement, continuous thinking, continuous working. And that is the success of quality at any workplace. And change needs to happen continually in small evolutionary steps. Surely too, there is a need for it in education. We can't be thinking, as I discussed yesterday, that even the vocabulary has changed. The very ABC we learnt was apple, boy and cat. But today it is Android, Blackberry and cloud. And hence the definition of learning has also changed. So we need to look forward to how best we tend to reflect this learning in the class. The total quality management is the umbrella for Kaizen. It is the approach wherein we talk about the 6 C's of total quality management in education. All, of course, it is borrowed from the industry. It is very much time for all of us to implement the same in academics, which talks about the control, the commitment, the culture, the continuous improvement, which is of course Kaizen, cooperation, customer focus, control. Now here we call it customers, of course the students and the teachers and the principal and the parents above all. So it's a stakeholder which combines of these people who need to be satisfied at all levels, and this comes with the implementation and with reference to that. Also, when I'm talking about quality control, the students expect to be served a delicious, well-prepared meal for sure wherever it is applicable. And in addition, there are some rules where we tend to reflect if you want to bring quality. The first one is curiosity comes first. The learner readiness, the engagement meter in the classroom is so very important. Learners' readiness requires the effective use of technology. We saw it during the pandemic. Enabling this readiness lies at the heart via curiosity to do the best. So we need to motivate them to do the best. For sure, there is another one which talks about Yeah, that's the embrace the mess. Obviously, collaborate. We tend to reflect so much of, again, this pandemic. We talked about it, first phase, second phase. Doesn't matter. We come prepared. We turn digital. And it is just, okay, children stay back home. We are going to have classes from the next day onwards. Now, looking at this trend, the NEP, the National Education Policy in India, we have implemented a provision for this type of an infrastructure henceforth in schools, wherein we can reflect. Next, please. The rule number 3 talks about practicing reflection, the classroom experience. No reading or activity can substitute for the time spent in the classroom with real students. So, we talk about it as a physical framework. Next, please. When the children are empowered, not only they do good, they do well. And these are the ways through which the teachers need to govern in their classroom management. You need to be creative, you need to be effective communicator, you need to be a critical thinker, and you need to be a collaborator. Also, with reference, we need to look forward. Next, please. The total quality management or the total quality management applicable in academics talks about accessing the feedback, planning and reflecting, teaching and observing and monitoring, and learning and recording the self-evaluation. This goes with hand to all the strategies we practice in the classroom. Next, please. Yeah. How do we implement Kaizen? Now, when I'm talking about quality circles, we frame 8 to 15 students and ask them to come out with some problems they relate to their classroom learning. So this is how they come up, identify a group needing the engagement, measure the process, assessing the measurements against requirement, determining how to meet the requirement, implementing the strategies, standardizing the new proposed process, and continue improvement. That's what we call it active research or action research by teachers in the classroom. Next, please. This is an approach I implemented through one of my websites, sixsigmaeducation.com. I published a paper on sixsigma.com, isixsigma.com, around 10 years back, and that is how I implemented the whole theory of Six Sigma in academics with define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. I took a simple example of defining the problem as distractions in the classroom. Now, globally, every class has this problem. How to avoid distractions in the classroom. So, what is the measure? We find the causes through brainstorming session. Followed by that, we tend to analyze the problem. Is it that the transparent window panes, the school near the airport, or probably the class near the canteen? There's so many reasons to have distractions in the classroom. Then we develop strategies in the improve section and implement those strategies in order to control that problem. Okay, so when you brainstorm in your classroom, say what are the common examples or common causes for distractions in the classroom. If I just raise hands, ask, so many of you will come with different ideas, What are the distractions in the classroom? And how to overcome. Like for example, there is transparent window pane, So we can place some curtains if the school can afford, or you can place brown paper or newspaper so that the transparency is removed and the children study. So this is one of the ways. Yeah, the canteen one. Yeah, it happens. The samosas, the aroma, all that stuff comes. So the children are more excited in waiting for the lunch, the break, rather than paying attention. Then the class near the music room, lizard in the class, And then I remember I was conducting a brainstorming session with one of the teachers, one of the groups of teachers, and there they came up, sir, frequent round by the principal also causes distraction. Why? Because in that case the teachers teach like a soldier, erect. Attendance, taking attendance. They pretend to deliver their best. So henceforth, probably now these days we have cameras and other things. So these are the ways we can even give them the opportunity to come up with their ideas, right? Okay, next please. So let's all work the talk rather than walk the talk or talk the talk. We need to execute the talk, right? So the talk here is implementing the strategies. The best way we go from here, we tend to reflect and come again with the initiation in the classroom to practice how best we can do. Next, please. Yeah. Learner-centered teaching has to be a priority. I can teach, but teaching doesn't mean delivering what I have to and not thinking what is going to be the takeaway. So the takeaway is that you have to work on the engagement meter in the classroom, and you have to promote your children's understanding by letting them ask the question, and you also tend to ask the question, starting from the level where they have maximum participation to answer. We tend to ask questions which the children don't know, right? That is unconsciously we tend to do. Okay, answer this. Only handful of the children know about those questions, right? And henceforth the participation is not there. So you start your class by asking a question which is too basic so that the engagement meter is the maximum. And when you recognize them in the classroom, what? They would be so happy. Oh, there is a praise for me in the classroom today. I have never ever answered the class during the class interaction. But now since I've been recognized in the classroom, that teacher becomes the best teacher, that class becomes the best teacher, and the learning begins. Right? So start your class with the normal question, the most basic question, and then increase the standard. This is how you have the maximum engagement in the class, because the child will only like the subject if he likes the teacher, right? And in order to like teacher, the teacher has to give him the recognition of praise, motivation, and learning, right? So maybe the child comes to you and says, "Ma'am, why don't you teach English also? Why don't you teach physics also? Because anything you teach, it goes in my head. It's so wow." Right? So as teachers, we need to first of all understand the fact that you need to identify a rapport building approach with the children. The children should feel that the moment you enter the class, it becomes a wow class. Wonder of wonders. Right? Otherwise, in Hindi we have a song, Aap Bahar Gayi. It should not be like that. You come and the flavor is gone. The Bahar, what do you call it, Bahar in English? The spring goes out, once you enter the class. And the children say, they respond to your coming. Oh, ma'am has come. Ah, ma'am has come. That makes the difference. Whether you are a liability in the classroom for 40 minutes or you are an asset in the classroom. So you have to work for yourself, right? Okay, the last slide please. Next. Respect your parents. They did high school without Google or Wikipedia. And henceforth, this has to be told to the children about that priority, because they are dependent on www, which is no longer World Wide Web, but it is also whatever, whenever, wherever. Right? So the children have that independence of learning. So in order to bring out that learning engagement in the classroom, the teachers need to be learners for life. And I'm thankful to the organizers for making this possible with all people who are attending this. Thank you so very much, and God bless.